Hello and welcome to That's What Speaks. Today is not Tuesday, but in fact Thursday, February 11th, and this episode 165. How are you? It's February, dudes. February in the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah. It's cold. Things are getting a little thin. You know, the holidays are over. Spring's not here yet. I'm okay. I'm happy just to eat soup, knit, but my people that are around me in my house are going a little crazy. And therefore, I'm going a little crazy. I'm moving around. Does it make you dizzy? Sorry. So I'm late. Ding! Life happens. Yeah. Nothing bad is happening. I can't complain, but sometimes I still do. That's all it is. Just need to teach these people to eat more soups with kale. I think that's really the problem. They're not eating the magical food. And knit, because then everybody would be just like, ooh, it's February. Let's order some seeds. Oh my gosh, have you ordered your seeds? Let's look at the seed catalogs and get all excited and just hunker down. Right? It's fine. We're not having any crazy snows here in Indiana. It's cold, but we don't have animals to take care of or anything, so we're inside. There should be no problems. My kiddo has developed... Okay, so here's the TMI part. Did I say what the show is called? This is the Fat Squirrel Speaks. I'm the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and the Fat SQRRL on Instagram. So let's talk about shenanigans. No, it's not really negative. It is kind of negative, but it's not really negative. It is just like the moment... That's not the moment. I have a little person. She's 9. She's in the 3rd grade. She has developed a really intense pushback on going to school. Now there are those of you, so it brings up so many issues, right? Because it's like, it brings up this like pinnacle of something I don't understand about life. And so I don't know how to like implement it in parenting at all. I mean, I don't know about anything parenting wise at all, but I'm not even really sure where I am on this fence row, hedgerow style. I don't know where I'm at. So I don't know, like, I don't know what line to hold. Parenting's rough. Cause like I could have all these sorts of conflicts and just like have them in my head happening, and yeah, it might make me crazy, but you wouldn't know it if you saw me at Aldi. Well, you'd be like, that woman's a little crazy because she's wearing lots of hand knits. But whatever. Because clearly she's wearing hand knits and yoga pants together. She's not doing yoga in the Aldi. So, but... then there's this whole thing where you're like supposed to mold another human being. Maybe I'm just taking my job too seriously. Maybe I should just, there's that whole article that's like, basically just make sure they don't hurt themselves. They're just going to turn out how they turn out anyway. Did you read that? Oh, there's like the most vague description. You know that actress, she's in that movie? That's what I just did to you. I'm sorry. I read an article a while ago that was like, why not have more children? And the whole crux to the article was people are concerned about having more children because they cost more and they don't know if they can, and all of this information. But his like whole like was, yeah, just, yeah, they're gonna be fine. Like just make sure, again, make sure you don't really mess them up. Like don't really mess them up. Don't do bad things to them. But other than that, they're just going to turn out how they're going to turn out, whatever you do. So, like, maybe I should just release or something. But I can't because I'm a control freak. I hate this about myself. Whatever, I still am. I totally yelled at my husband the other day because we're having potato soup. Such the worst person. We're having potato soup and he's like, it's potato soup, right? There's like a broth-like substance which I have pureed, but then there are also pieces of potato, but the broth is still the potato. It's not like there's water with potatoes floating in it, okay? So I feel like the nugget of the potato and a same size nugget of the soup is actually almost exactly the same thing. But he's filtering out the broth, which is, by the way, all creamy and delicious because it's got like a roux in it and stuff. Like I'm not serving him stone soup. But he's like filtering out the broth to get the potato pieces and I was like, what are you doing? Why am I like that? Why can't I just be like, that's how he's doing it? I didn't yell. I'm not like, I wasn't totally in shrew mode, but I was like, what are you doing? Don't only take the potato pieces, you're just leaving all the broth behind. And he's like, there's only 2 of us eating this. It's like, it's not like, there's a whole pot. It's like, and of course he eats nothing because he's the tiniest human in the world. But I just, right? So I had the moment where I had to apologize for being a control freak and like monitoring how this 50-something-year-old person is eating his soup. I want to be a hippie. I'm just not. Oh. Anyway. Oh, son of a gun. Sorry, I have my foot taped and a piece of tape just fell off. Anyway. I'm neurotic. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so we've had this thing where Tova is just pushing back about going to school. And so it's bringing up this whole conflict of like the transition from like, you have to go to school because you have to learn to do something you don't really love for 8 hours a day because that's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Right? Like that's... It's like she hates school. She just would prefer not to go. But it's not like she's like one of these like, or we're, it's not just her, it's me. But it's not like we're one of these like organic knowledge consuming families where we're just like, oh, we're gonna go frolic in the Susan B. Anderson Walk of Wisconsin and learn about chicory. I don't know. Like, I want to be that person, but I'm just not that person, right? So like, it's, oh, I don't know what to say. Do you know what to say? Oh, it's a personal decision. Nobody can tell you what to say, but I don't even know what to decide on. What do I do? I mean, you do have to, It's really hard to be the person who's working from home. And I am working. It's not like I'm just hanging out all day, right? But it's really hard to be the person who's working from home who, because she can't go into the world because she's crazy, to tell your kid that they have to go into the world because it's what they have to learn to do because they're going to have to do it. Do I tell her that? Do I not tell her that? I gotta like, but she's gotta have options, right? Like she's gotta do this right now so that she can have options later. And everybody's like, just homeschool her. We don't get along well for homeschooling. I don't know how to even make that happen. Like we're very, when it comes to learning things, I don't know what to do about it, but that's what it is. So at this point, that's really not an option. Anyway, that was way too much personal information. I would pretend that doesn't always happen, but it does. But usually it's not that much personal information. But it's really in the front of my head. It's in the front of my head, in the middle, and the back, and on top, and then that is on top of some more, and it's like folded, and then it's crammed into a bucket of that, and there's just a lot of that happening in my head. It's really hard to put a 9-year-old on the bus when she's crying. When you're really like, I don't know if this is what I should be doing. Anyway, so what do you do when you're stressed out? This is what I do when I'm stressed out. Not like stressed out. It depends on the stress. But when I'm having a like, I cannot what I like to do is read farming books and watch Jason Statham movies. Not at the same time. Right? Jason Statham movies. I went to this like ladies thing a couple weeks ago where we were watching, I don't even know which Jane Austen movie it was. There's some truth for you. I've tried to read Jane Austen. I can't do it. I just can't. I have not been in any way interested in watching these movies, but we watched them as a group, which was okay because it was Mystery Science 5000, 2000, whatever. It was like with running commentary and nobody was offended by me being like, what is this? Because I don't judge you for loving Jane Austen. I just don't. I know, right? There's going to be ovary revoking at any moment. The ovary removal squad is going to come and they're going to take my ovaries because, well, apparently I don't even have any because I don't like Jane Austen. There's more than one way to be a woman. I know that, I'm just saying. It's for the comedies. But anyway, so I'm like, wait. So they're all talking about, like, at all these points in their lives when they've watched these movies, like Pride and Prejudice or, I see. There's that other one, Sense and Sensibility. That's right? Anyway, they're talking about them, like, at these points in their lives when they've been sad. They're just folding laundry and watching Jane Austen movies. And I'm just like, yeah, when I'm sad, I watch, like, The River Wild. Oh my gosh, it's on Netflix now. And The Edge. I just thought it was, like, the weirdest. Why is that the sad movie I watch? And Jason Statham movies and the Bourne movies. I have to watch an action movie. What is that? So I have to watch an action movie and then look at farm books, and then that kind of helps. Also, if there's a maple cookie around, it's getting eaten. But so I'll tell you what I'm reading right now. I finished this one this week. It's called Rural Free, and it's a farm wife's almanac of country living. It's by Rachel Peden, and it's really, it is what it is. Like, it is like a farm. It is what that says. It is a farm wife's almanac of country living. It's by month. And it was copyright, I think, like in the 60s, I want to say. She was born 1901 and passed in 1975. Oh, I can't even find where the copyright was. But it's in that, like, crazy typeface that really looks like an old book, like with the huge margins. I don't know why I always find that very charming, but I do. Shush. Fine, judge me. It's fine. Just don't tell me about it. That's fine. Just whatever. Okay, now I can't even find it. 1961 was the original copyright. But it was also written, some of the excerpts and stuff were written for local newspapers. She's from Indiana. She's writing in Indiana. And so it's a monthly chronicle. It's lots of nature information and things about the farm and things about neighbors. And it's just enjoyable. It's very easy to read. Again, there's huge margins and stuff. So it's a very easy and comforting read. I recommend it if you like this sort of book. Like, it is very specific. A lot of people are like, what is this about? Why am I reading this? There's no central nexus. Is that what that's called? It's just like, yeah, it's January. That's what happens in January. There was an ice storm. There was this beautiful thing I saw. Now it's February. It's like that. So I finished that. Now I'm reading The Nourishing Homestead, which is by Ben Hewitt with Penny Hewitt. One Back to the Land Family's Plan for Cultivating Soil, Skills, and Spirit. So this is a very different type of book. And it is, for one thing, it's like all glossy and gorgeous and has lots of pretty photographs. And it's more how-to-y, but still narrative. So it's not like reading stories, basic country skills or something. It was not that extensive, for one thing. But for example, the contents are things like homestead design and layout, soil and gardens, the nourished animal, infrastructure skills and tools. So it's like somewhere between this and stories, country skills. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's very enjoyable and it's very escapist for me. Yeah, there's these two boys that are on the farm and they're always like making baskets out of something or flipping looking for a chicken egg. Oh! This should be all the one in which I breathe a lot. Nah. And so then the other thing I finished, which is not about farms or action movies at all, I completed, it's on my Kindle, so I don't want to show it to you because that's like boring. But it's a book called The Almost Nearly Perfect People, and it's by Michael Booth. I wrote that so sloppily, I'm not even sure that's really what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's what it is. So anyway, it's called The Almost Nearly Perfect People. It's by Michael Booth, and it was inspired by all of the, well, I don't know if it's inspired by that, but we'll say that. It was inspired by, do you know you always get the surveys that are out that are like, you know, the happiest people in the world are the Danes. The Danish are the happiest people. And so he is a British writer and his wife is Danish and they live there, live in Denmark. And he's like, yeah, I don't know why these people are supposed to be the happiest people in the world. These people don't really seem very happy. So it was kind of like the impetus, the movement forward for him to write this book was try to investigate, like, what is, you know, because happiness is a rather subjective concept, if nothing else. So it's him investigating that, and again, that the fact that the Nordic countries are constantly on the top lists of like gender equality, and lots of times they're on the top of the educational lists and things like that. It is Michael Booth, thank you. This is the banana stand. Anyway, that was a good show. So it's about Denmark, Iceland, Sweden, Finland, and Norway. So those are the 5. And it is broken down like in sections by the country. And then talks a little bit about each one. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I thought it was very interesting. And it's not a bashing, it's not like, oh, they're not the happiest people in the world and this is why. It just tries to investigate like why this is, like what is it about them that, you know, again, that they don't seem to manifest this joy, and yet they are. But again, it's also investigating like Norway's wealth for its oil fields, which I didn't even know because I live under a rock apparently. Anyway, so it's just, it was very interesting. It was one thing I did not like about it, but one thing I wished it had more information on was parenting methods, and he talks a bit about the gender equality that the North Scandinavian countries have, the Norse countries, I don't know, whatever you call them. But he doesn't really investigate what it is to be a woman in those countries. Now, clearly, he's a male author. But, for example, in Finland, he's talking about, like, he loves the Finns, and he's trying to think about, like, he's trying to break down why he is so drawn to the Finns. And so one of the things he does is goes to a public bath, a sauna, excuse me, and he experiences the sauna. Well, that's a totally male-centered, well, he went to a male-only sauna, and I know that there are female saunas and then co-ed saunas and things like that. But it just brought out, like, he's talking about these things that he thinks of as the Finns. It's this, like, very taciturn and very, like, non-verbal. And he's talking about all of these things that it is to be a Finn. And he touches on the fact that he's like, these are what it is to be a Finnish man. And then but he doesn't go in there like, okay, well, I've recognized that this is what it is to be a Finnish man. Then what is it to be a Finnish woman? So, I don't know. I just wish there had been more information about that, but maybe there will be another book that can, and I know I've heard other people talk about what it is to be a parent in some of those countries, and how there is this one of the things that kind of is a continuous theme through those Nordic countries is that there is kind of this there's this cultural norm that is very heavily present. So there's not a lot, like, eccentricism is not really encouraged. Individuality is non-standard. there's not a lot of multiculturalism in a lot of these countries, or at least if they're, Sweden now has a lot more immigrants than the other countries, but they're really trying to struggle to deal with it because for so long these countries were they were just like monocultures. Like there was not a lot of diversity in the countries. And so they talk about, for example, the Finns and like why they don't talk very much. And in overall, all of these Nordic countries, he feels, or I don't know that he cites any kind of scientific like words per day kind of information, but he feels like people don't speak very much. And so they go into like, and in fact, the Finns have a very limited language. Like their language has like no future. Is that right? Anyway, so they have a very limited language. It's like, trying to explore what this is about. And one of the theories is because the culture is so standardized across the board, is that there's just the concept that really people don't need to speak a lot because they are living very similar lives. And so commentary on those is not really necessary. So the language has not been developed to include diversified experiences. What? That's fascinating. Anyway, very good book. I very much enjoyed it. Fun stuff. Very, very easy to read. It is not stodgy or overly, it's good. It's very enjoyable. I think that's what I wanted to say. I'm sure I wanted to say something else, but I've already said too many things. So anyway, that's called The Nearly Perfect People by Michael Booth. Okay, let's talk about knitting and spinning, maybe. I don't know. That's what we do, right? I was going to talk about lentils, but maybe I'll talk about lentils next time. We'll see. I think I had enough of a confession about my weird parenting issues this week. Yes, that is enough. I'll try to make a note to talk about the lentils next time. Move that forward, bullet journal. Migrate it. Okay, so spinning. I have some finished spinning. Oh, that doesn't go in there. Tried to put the pin in the wrong place. I don't think I showed this to you. Did I show this to you last week? Now I can't even remember. Last time? If I did, I apologize. This is from Spun Right Round, and it is Rambouillet in the Rock and Roll Love Letter. It was a club colorway. I don't know if you can really see how exciting it is. Oh, you really can. So it is 130. Oh, so it's 264 yards. And I love Rambouillet. It's so squishy. 2-ply. That's it. But it's very enjoyable. Tuft wool and sock soap. Told. Tuft. It's Tuft woolens. Gosh, why can't I even get that straight? Anyway, very enjoyable. And then I finished. Oh, I forgot to bring this over. I'll have to go get those in a minute. I finished my bats from Knit Spin Farm. These were the 2 gallons of honey, right? Maybe I'm lying. 2 gallons of honey bats, and they contain BFL, Corriedale, Falkland Merino, Tarhee, Wensleydale, Sparkle, and Surrey. And this was a double batch. This is 6 ounces. It's about 563 yards. Oh, so fun. These are gorgeous. It was so fun to spin. Joetta's bats are always gorgeous. I never feel like I do them justice, but this is very pretty. Yay! And it's super soft. Yay! I want one of those self-striping bats. Anyway, enjoyable. This was so pleasant to spin. And then, let's see. Oh, I have to ply. This is, where's my tag? This is a bat from Wool Pierogi. Here we go. From Wool Pierogi. And I got this at SSK last year. This is Chalk Drawings Dumpling Bat. Yep. And I'm going to chain ply it. It's merino, BFL locks, Angelina, silk, and mixed domestic wools. It was 3.6 ounces. It's kind of hard. This is a hard color because it is very much like yellow school chalk with other colors mixed in. But the base color is totally yellow school chalk. It's awesome. And some Acreworks Bobbin, which are very enjoyable. Okay. And then what I'm working on right now is, I'm such a follower. This is from Quinlan Fiber Arts. This is 4 ounces of Corriedale. I can't remember which one it was. This is 4 ounces of Corriedale in the Owls colorway, because did you see? Joanna brings yarn for her socks is always ridiculously gorgeous. But then she made some for Susan B. Anderson. It was this colorway, and it was super extra ridiculously gorgeous. So I had to pretend that I could make something similar. So I just split the whole length in half vertically. So not this way, but this way. Maybe that's how I'm going to describe that. No, I did not break it this way. I split it this way. And so I'm just going to chain ply it. I'm not the greatest chain plier. I'm also going to chain ply the wool pierogi. I told you that. So that'll be my practice. It's a little thicker yarn. I'm very nervous about chain plying this, but for sock yarn, but I think we're going to do it anyway. Eek. I hope it works. Eek. And of course, just 2 weeks ago, I was like, I can't have sock yarn without nylon except for this hand spun that I made. Just don't listen to me. I'm a liar. So. Anywho, so there's that. Okay, so now knitting. Finished objects. Yes. I have only one. No, I don't. I have 2. Oh my gosh, why did I leave that over there? Okay, I'm gonna stop this. Okay, so I did finish something else. I also finished that thing, but I'll show you that in a minute. Oh my gosh. So the first thing I finished is I finished some socks. So these are just pretty much basic cuff down, heel flap, knit 3 rows. For 1 row, do knit 1, purl 1. Okay, so knit 1, purl 1 around, and then do 3 rows of stockinette, and that gives you just a little bit of wumple, just a little bit of wumple, which I find very enjoyable. And then, as you can see, fail. Somehow I made one sock like a good inch longer than the other one. But I didn't realize until I was like here, and I was not going to redo it. It's there for a gift, but I think that person will understand. Whatever. This is BFL from Socks That Rock. It's Superwash BFL in the fingering. And this is Bantam chickens, right? I think it's Bantam chickens. Yay, it's fun. They're very enjoyable. Really? You can see it better there, maybe. See, there's the top of that sock. And there's the top of that sock. Wah, wah. Anywho, they'll still wear the same. The next thing I finished is it's still damp, so I can't exactly show it to you in the most awesome of ways. But I finished my next excuse me hat. This one is knit. This is an undyed BFL DK. And then this purpley colorway is hand spun that I spun from Into the World. And of course this is the Excuse Me. It is by Mr. Stephen West. I'm not going to play around as much because again it's still damp. I don't want to get all stressed out. But so silly. Very silly. So you can wear it like that. Or you can wear it like a slouchy hat. I think these are all going to get pom-poms. But I may wait to apply the pom-pom until after the recipient decides if they in fact want a pom-pom. Alright, super silly. This is verging on the ridiculousness of like the Star Trek. Which one is that he has the crazy long head? Anyway, whatever. Yay, enjoyable. Not enjoyable. Cover it up. So anyway, so there's that. And then that'll lead me right into current works in progress. Organically and stuff. Current work in progress is what? An excuse me hat. Shut up. It's true. This one is with more Into the World. And I think this is BFL, but I don't think it's super, I think it's just plain BFL. This is, I think, the Kindred colorway. I could be wrong. I could be lying. And so that's the foreground color. And the background color is some of my old yarn. This is Fast Forward Fibers. This is a BFL DK superwash. I think it was called Poison Root. And so you can see there's the other side. Yarp. Anyway, very fun. Is that hat? Yeah. And then the last thing I show you that's a work in progress. I'm really hoping that next week it's done, but this week it's not. And that is my Sans Serif sweater by Elizabeth Doherty. And that is from her book, Top Down, Reimagining Set-In Sleeve Design. And it is knit with, what can I think? Watershed by Harrisonville Designs. This is the Barn Door colorway. Isn't that a good color? I'm usually not a big red person, but this is a very good color. What happened? When I started this thing, that stupid peachy wall wasn't showing, and now all of a sudden it showed up. What happened? Whatever. I know, it's really does not adhere to the high standards of production quality you're used to. It's free hush. So I have it's knit top down. It will have a set-in sleeve. Boink. And it has a pocketez that's waiting to happen. The pattern is written to bind it off and pick it up, which I'm sure probably is really the better way to do. It gives it more structure and stuff, but lazy. Afterthought. Or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, there's that. I know, right? Like, let me just show you this blob. Oh, but I will show you. I'm not done. It's still on the needle, but look at how pretty the buttonhole band is. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but the buttonhole band has this little welt thing that's happening. Oh, I love it so much. Right there. Right? So pretty. I want to put that welt on every sweater from now on. It's so pretty. So crisp. So fresh, so clean. Anyway, so that's that. I'm working on the buttonhole band. I have another buttonhole band. I have 2 sleeves, a collar. I think that's all I have to do. Yes, but that's a lot because I have big sleeves. I think I might do 3/4 though. And we'll see. That's all the knitting. I just lost steam. Did you hear it? It's all that flippin' calming breathing I've been doing. It's letting out my steam. Ugh. Anyway. So that's all the knitting and spinning. If you're going to go to the Knitting Pipeline Retreat, stay around for a second. If not, and you're not interested, I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Oh, I will try to be with you next time. I think I will be. I don't think it'll be a problem. I will be with you next time. But yeah. If you are going to the Knitting Pipeline Retreat, well, what? I'm going to see you in like 2 weeks and a day. Oh my gosh. If you would like to pre-order a bag, I will be vending this year, as usual. And I will have regular, like, bags in a variety of sizes and patterns available for sale. However, I also do a pre-order for the commemorative seems like too big of a word for it, too fancy a word for it, but the commemorative bag, which this year looks like this. So your tag will say Knitting Pipeline Cross Top 2016 Fat Squirrel Fibers. This is the large wedge size. I brought a few because this pattern is very big. And so your bags will be, oh no, these somehow managed to, this is not a scientific sample. I just took the first two off the top, but unfortunately these both kind of look the same. But how did I manage that? I don't know, I'm talented. Anyway, so that's the large wedge size. And then the sweater size, there's a little more diversity on this side. The sweater size is this side. And so you will pre-order, but you will pick your bag up at the retreat, at the vending table, and you can pick yours. You can pick it out. So if you definitely want to be the first pick, be first in line, but there should be no issues. So those will go up this weekend, which is February 13th and 14th. They'll at least be up for the weekend. I might even leave them up through like Monday or Tuesday. And if you want one of those bags, or you're seeing it later, don't worry. I will have some at the retreat. This is just if you definitely want one, you can pre-order it. It's for convenience for you and me. But if you forget, don't worry. I'll have some there. And then if you're still hanging around, I should have a regular update the first Friday in March. I will have a regular update the first Friday in March. And it will have all of the bags. I always hold some back from all of the variety of fabrics that I get ready for Knitting Pipeline, which I'll probably show you next time. And so I'll hold this back and have an update on the first Friday of March. Just gonna tell you there's some really fun prints in there. Just saying, you should definitely check it out. But I think that's all. Oh, if you want this fabric and you're not going to the Pipeline Retreat, there will probably be this fabric in another, well, I don't see that there wouldn't be. But I don't know what date that will be yet. It'll probably be like the third week in March or something, but I don't know for sure yet. But it will be in the pipeline. Oh, right. Anyway, I will talk to you next time. I hope you have a great week. Bye.